Hey boys and girls, I'm going to tell you a little bedtime story. If I can get my finger out of the way. Once upon a time, there was a little friendly diode, and there was a lonely watchdog. And the diode decided it was going to help the watchdog bark, and so it taught the watchdog to bark 20 times every second. And off it went, and off the watchdog went happily into the hills, barking morning, noon, and night every day. And the whole rest of the onboard community stopped. They would do absolutely nothing. They just stopped and looked at amazement at this watchdog happily barking away with this diode. Until that is, someone realised something was wrong. Now, it's not the end of the story, not by a long shot, but that's me in comedic layman's terms trying to explain that that diode there can cause chaos. This is a board I'm working on for Ben. It's board number 3. And what was basically happening is the board would boot up, it would come out reset, and you could see everything running here, but none of that side of the board would run. If you remember from early videos, System 5 can run blind because everything that works in parallel is on this side, and all the I/Os on that side. So that side of the board can run, and it's controlled by and addressed by the CF cell to control this side. But if something's wrong here, this side of the board doesn't run, to put simply. And what had actually happened was that diode was in backwards. And if that is in backwards, what happens is, it's so insignificant, this thing, that you can't see on the schematic without really looking for it. It's to do with the reset over here. But what happens when it's in backwards, it will feed about 2 volts up your watchdog line, into the watchdog line in the CF cell, and into pin 2 here of U13. And what that is a non-maskable interrupt for reset. It's the input for the watchdog. And to cut a long story short, what was happening is it was jamming all the interrupts off, because it's supposed to see a high there at that watchdog line before the board will continue on. Because it saw a low there, it was given the output to tell the processor that the board was still in reset and the interrupts weren't changing. It's, if you know your 68000s, you know they've got 3 interrupt lines, not 1, and it sends an interrupt code to the CPU, not just a pulse. So basically those weren't changing, so the rest of that board was stuck. Everything here, none of these outputs, rails, lamps, nothing else was working because it was stuck. And the way I could tell that is because when I flipped that switch, I've not got the displays connected now, but when I flipped that switch I got 4.2 sorry, on the LED display, which was telling me RAM reset. But when I put it back, I got nothing. So I spent hours trying to figure that out, and then I just noticed, I was actually looking around these resistors to see, are any pressed down onto the exposed traces under there, and then I saw that the stripe was opposite the stripe on the screen print. And after a lot of swearing, I turned it all around and it woke up. Yeah. Not the end of the battle. It woke up and then it promptly went off again. And what actually started happening was it would reset at random. The reset light was not going off so much, but flickering. And I checked back the schematics, and what it turned out to be was pin 11 of this stuck high. Well, you weren't getting proper reset signals out to the processor. I believe, I'm not too sure, but I believe that the halt line needs to be held low on the processor during reset, or it can take off by itself and do some weird stuff. I need to look into it more, but yeah, changed that, and I changed the timing caps for brand new ones as well, because those ones are crusty, and it's up and running. Well, as far as this point anyway, it's up and running. Yeah, just see. So there we go. So no reels at the minute. That's because, as I said in previous video, I'm working on something to do with reels to make the videos more interesting, to make it easier to test the board as well. But I'll get back to that. And I've got something to do tonight that's came in as, I suppose you could call it, an emergency, so stay tuned for a video on that soon, and bye for now.